We're going to begin tonight with Blue Moscato and the Star Spangled Banner. So we ask everyone to please rise. Great job, Blue Moscato. And now we'd like to call up for the invocation the President of Buffalo Common Council, the Reverend Darius Pridgeon. Reverend, if we could have the music in the background turned off, please.
I actually found in the Bible the word boxer. In one of the translations, it talks about a boxer and how he strives and that shouldn't just shadow box, how should strive for masteries. And so today, as we honor those who have strove is a word, who have really went for what God created them to be, and who worked hard, got in the ring, who had to discipline their body, their mind, their soul, and sometimes their spirit. We honor them this night. We honor them this night by going to the throne for a word of prayer. Our God and our Father, we thank you now. We thank you for this time together. We thank you for those who disciplined their bodies and those who showed what hard work and dedication, even loyalty may bring. We honor them tonight in this wonderful organization who does not forget about their community, their neighborhoods, and their cities. And most of all, the children who will look up to them not just tonight, but for decades because of their dedication. Bless the food that we're about to receive in the precious, matchless name of Jesus. Amen.
Luckily, I don't have to follow that. We're going to eat now. So enjoy your meal. We'll come back with tonight's presentations and inductions. Enjoy.
Treasurer James Messina, Sergeant of Arms Eddie Neiman, and our recording secretary Robert LaBarbera. Thank you. Also, I'd like to have these people at least stick their hand up. We have a former Hall of Fame members here. We have from 2000 class, Mr. Jimmy Ralston. And from their 2005 class, Mr. Tony Ventura. From 2006, Mr. Dick Topinko. 2007, Paulie Wolopowski. 2010, Billy Heckmer. 2013, Mr. Ross the Boss Thompson. 2015, Mr. Eddie Neiman. And 2017, Mr. Mark Cheers. I hope I didn't forget anybody. We have a couple other special guests. We have a boxer here who trained at Singer's Gym with Johnny Sudak and Charlie Ferraro. He had a 28-9-1 record from 1975 to 1980. He was a top 15 lightweight in the world. In Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, Mr. Ralph Racine. Someone else in the crowd, I've seen him in the back. He's a New York State Athletic Commission judge. He just did the Danny Green-Sean Porter fight. Another perfect score for him. He also did Miguel Cotto's last fight. He's a Ring 44 member. Mr. Eric Marlinsky in the back. A couple other special guests. From the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame, we got Damian Akposio and Dave Hutchinson. You can check out VO Boxing on the YouTube channel. It also is on Facebook. They do a great job, and now they're partners with us. We have the New York State Pro Matchmaker here, Miss Diana Rodriguez. Match makes a lot of great fights in New York State. We have a heavyweight who owns Thunder Boxing. He's 5'1" 2", Mr. Alex Divadas. We have from the PAL, Mr. Daryl Graham, doing a great job coaching. From Victory Gym, Tommy Nutt. And we have a two-time Amateur of the Year here, Miss Wendy Casey. Okay, we're going to start our program. I'm just going to do the first two awards. I'm going to turn it over to a professional. The first award we're going to give out is something we started in 2003. Actually, Roy Brash started in 2002. He came to one of our dinners and he said, let me give my Amateur of the Year award to this fighter. It is from his gym. And he bought the trophy and he brought him to the dinner and he gave him the trophy. And Ring 44 said, well, that's a great idea. Why don't we give out the Amateur of the Year award every year? In 2003, we started this award, and it's become a very important award to all the gyms and all to the young fighters in the community. This year, the members of Ring 44 looked it over. There was a lot of worthy candidates. But if you see his bio in there, he's done great strides this past year. He's a very nice person. So we're going to call him up here. The award goes to Mr. Alex Castellano. Doing? Hope everyone's having a good evening. Honestly, it's an honor for me to be up here.
This is by far for me probably one of my best accomplishments that I've achieved so far. When I got this award, I usually don't like to relish on my achievements or anything that I've done well. And this was one of the moments that I sat back and gave myself a pat on the back. I was with my girlfriend and I took 20 minutes and I really thought about it and all the hard work. For me, at that moment came to fruition. I started, getting some recognition for all the hard work that I put in. So it's a blessing for me to be up, with all the people here, all you beautiful people, representing Buffalo. It's an honor for me. So, I just want to thank my family. My family's here, surprising me. It's amazing for me. And, my beautiful girlfriend. Everybody knows boxing. The fight game is the highest highs and the lowest lows. So, your support means the world to me. My parents and all my training partners. And, I just want to say, no matter what I accomplish, and I want to take this to the top as far as I can go, no matter what I have accomplished, no matter what I will accomplish, I owe it all to my coach. So, this award isn't just for me, it's for me and my brother Tommy Left. So, love you and thank you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
A friend of mine from California sent me a shirt, and it was double X. And I said, well, I take a large. And I says, who takes a double X? And I begged this guy to come tonight, Mr. Ross the Boss Thompson, because I said, I'm sure he takes double X now, because he fought for the 154-pound junior middleweight title against Fernando Vargas. That's why he is in our Hall of Fame. So when they sent me this shirt, it had a picture of that, and I said, well, I gotta give it to Ross. I was gonna give it to him last year, but he skipped out on us. So, this is why I begged you to come. Not that I don't love seeing you all the time. Come and get your shirt. The next award, I'm going to give you a little history of it. About 3 years ago, we decided to give out this Courage Award, 144 Courage Award. And we went back and forth a couple years and said, who's worthy of this award? Who should we name it after? So the last 3 years, we just didn't give it to anybody. So this year, we seen a newspaper article in the Buffalo News of all places. And it was an extraordinary article. And we said, right away, as soon as we seen the article, we said, well, there's our first Courage Award winner for Ring 44. Then we said, who are we going to name it after? And then Mr. Louis Moscato said, well, how about Mr. Stenhouse? And if anybody doesn't know Tommy, I'm sure everybody knows Mr. Stenhouse. So I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, every time I mention boxing in Buffalo, someone says, did you know Mr. Stenhouse? Or they mentioned that Emsley PL or whatever. They said, did you know Mr. Stenhouse? It never was Tommy. It never was Tommy Stenhouse. It was always Mr. Stenhouse. And that's how I knew him too, because he used to come to our meetings, came to all our dinners, and it's Mr. Stenhouse. So you read a brief biography here. We took it right from the paper because whatever we said couldn't give it justice. And I'd like to call up, first of all, Tommy Stenhouse's daughter to come up here.
Thank you, Bob. Good evening. Good evening. I used to be a teacher, so. What I'm going to read is a letter from my family to, Dixie, can I have? Dixie, would you please come up?
The award winner is Mr. Robert Dixie.
Like a brother to me. When he was training and my dad would have his boxers running behind the car, I was a little girl in the back, in the window, making faces at them. But here's a letter from my family. Dear Dixie, we applaud Ring 44 for selecting you to receive the first Thomas Stenhouse Courage Award, and we wholeheartedly congratulate you. As one of our dad's boys, you've been like a brother to us, not only back in your PAL days, but from that time and ever since. We have shared joy in your several boxing, military, and community service accomplishments. However, what has touched our hearts most is how you showed love for both our dad and our mom over the years. You never let too much time pass between your telephone calls and your personal visits from Rochester. This was not lost on us. They were blessed by you, and so were we. Thank you. We are proud of you, and we know our mom and dad are proud of you too. Congratulations. We pray you will continue to live the values that our dad instilled in all of us. Faith in God, love of family, service to community, good sportsmanship, and the courage to always do what's right. Warmest regards, I'm Thomasina Stenhouse, on behalf of the family of Thomas H. Stenhouse.
Good evening, I'm Robert Dixie, Senior, juniors over there. Bob said that he would give me a few minutes to talk about Mr. Stenhouse as well as himself. And I live in Rochester, New York, but I was born and raised here in Buffalo. And I'd like to point out that the relocation of Rochester and the transition of Rochester almost 40 years ago was smooth because of another Buffaloan, Ray Scott, who's also here giving me support. I am a Buffalonian. I graduated from PS 31 and Emerson Vocational High School. A schoolmate of mine, Jerry, is Mirzak. We spent 4 years at Emerson at the paint shop, but neither one of us became painters. From grade school through high school, I participated in many sports: swimming, football, basketball, and track. In football, I received honorable mention on high at quarterback, but I played defense as well. It was on defense when I accidentally broke Lum Smith's leg. Lum Smith, he was young. And the incident bothered Lum and I over the years, and it's something that you don't easily forget. But it's not, he tells everyone he sees about it when he broke his leg, but he never gives me credit for improving his basketball game. Because he couldn't play football, he had to concentrate on basketball. And he wound up making on high in basketball. But my family, my wife, my children, cousins, and friends are all here tonight to support me. And I just give a show of hands who's all here for me. I would also like to acknowledge Bishop Bridgen not only for the education, or that he is pastor of True Brethren Church, or that he's a member of the city council and president of the council. He's my godson as well. I was first encouraged about boxing by my uncle Lee Batcher. Many of you old time boxers might know Lee. He was a good friend of Mr. Stenhouse. And he used to take me up to Jackson's gym to watch him work. And that was my first exposure. But my first actual exposure to competitive boxing was when I first met Mr. Stenhouse at the age of about 12 or 13. And for a few minutes, I'd just like to share a little of what I experienced from Mr. Stenhouse that shaped my boxing career and life. It shows some of the features of Mr. Stenhouse that only his boxers saw in him that made them want to be the best. Mr. Stenhouse's rule was learn how to box, not fight. Boxing is like a chess match, where you think and strategize, figure out how your opponent moves and play. Mr. Stenhouse, representing the Spruce Street PL, not Emsley, entered his boxer as a team in the annual Golden Gloves tournament. We trained as a team and was recognized as a team in the community. The Spruce Street PAL was a requirement for us to street games, but they were not there to go to the Spruce Street PAL because of the boxing. At 16, Mrs. Stenhouse entered his boxers into the Golden Gloves. At Emerson High School, I was on football and basketball teams, and the boxing season was happening at the same time as the basketball season. So, before school started 3 times a week, 5 o'clock in the morning, Mr. Stenhouse would pick up his boxers, take us to Delaware Park, and we ran around the park. We didn't do that really well, that's a large park. We did it 3 times a week. And as Tina said, we would give us time for making sure we were. After our day began in school, it was either football or basketball practice or boxing training. Everybody at this time to do all of those things. Kids now specialize in one sport. At the 1963 Golden Glove Championships, while wrapping my hands before the belt, Mrs. Stenhouse accidentally dropped me. Then he started smiling and said, "We're going to win tonight." So he was trying to convince me because he saw how nervous I was. We were fighting for the championship. And he said he saw it wasn't working, so he dropped the pound on us and said, "You know the missus is out there, and Tina." I said, "They're here tonight?" I said, "Yes." We knew then that we were going to win because nobody wanted to lose in front of their other mothers and little sisters. We all won that. Besides physical training, Mrs. Stenhouse used other strategies. He was a master. It was when I entered the service, the army that you have in here was when I entered the military. I didn't know that they had boxing in the military. I went to the gym and they were working out. I just came over to see if I could work out and get this just spar with somebody. But the coach had a different one. He saw me and he had a fighter that nobody boxed because he was so good. So he said, "Let's put him." I didn't know it at the time. He was the champ. So when he put me in the ring with me after the first round, he quit. I said, "He's too good." And I look back at Mrs. Stenhouse and training. But I wanted to go on to say that in the Army, I fought in the Fourth Army area, which covered most of all the southwest part of the United States. And I went undefeated up until the Fourth Army Championship. I ran into the nerves from again. I used to call Mr. Stenhouse like he was on speed dial, just to talk to him. I was fighting that night for the Fourth Army Championship of the world. The person that I was about to fight had won the Fourth Army Championship 2 years in a row. And he had this precinct that he lived in trials with. And that was the guy that I was going to fight. I called Mr. Stenhouse and told him about the fight, who I was going to fight, what he had going. Mr. Stenhouse started asking me about the food. How's the food there? I said, it's okay. He said, what's the weather like? It's okay. And he just started talking about everything but boxing. Eventually, my man was doing boxing. I got relaxed. And that night, after that, he got me relaxed. He said, you got to fight tonight. I got one more person that I want you to talk to. He called Mrs. Stenhouse, Mom. He calls her to the phone and she says, Dixie, I know you're going to win. And that night, I won again. I won the Fourth Army Championship. Most of it is in the program that you see. I didn't go any further than that after because my father has. But I just wanted to give you some background on how Mrs. Stenhouse, what he did for his, not only me, all the fighters that we worked with, had the same attitude of love and friend. I'm honored tonight and humbled to receive this award. And I just mentioned to Ray that I had received rewards. I've received 2 keys to the city of Rochester, New York, and I've received a letter of commendation from the President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, for community service in Rochester, New York. But neither one of those compares to this reward that I'm getting tonight on behalf of Mr. Stenhouse.
Like I said before, I'm going to turn it over to the professional, Mr. Bob Kaczynski. Everybody remembers him from Empire Sports Network. He'll be taking over as the MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. It's great to be back here for the boxing inductions, Ring 44, and just a couple of messages before we get started because, this is a big room, jam-packed, couldn't fit another person in here with a shoehorn. So, number one, turn down your cell phones, especially if you have a bell as your ringer, because if the bell goes off in here tonight, God help us. Somebody's getting knocked out. So turn your cell phones down. Usually I'm here, we do a lot of wrestling functions here at DePaulo's. We have the Ilio DePaulo Scholarship Fund, and of course, Ilio was a great professional wrestler, and we honor the amateur wrestlers and the scholastic wrestlers. And I've been around scholastic wrestling for most of my life. And wrestling's a very tough sport, but when you lose in wrestling, you hurt in here, you hurt inside. When you lose in boxing, you hurt in here, but you hurt here, and you hurt here, and here. Even if you win, you hurt here, and you hurt. So boxing is a brutal sport. Our buddy Mark Cheers from Niagara Falls sitting right out front, right, Mark? Remember how handsome he used to be, Mark? Remember? Wow. Yeah, you remember. Wow. But no, Mark was a great boxer, and so it's an honor to be here tonight. I also want to remind you, now it's a big room. We've got another 8 awards to go out. I ask our 8 awardees to be gracious but brief. Remember, the brain can only absorb what the butt can endure. So Try not to go too long so we can get out of here before 11 o'clock tonight and everybody can have a great night. Everybody's bios are in the program book. When I introduce you, I'm going to abbreviate the bio so that we can get on with the awards and also bring you up here and give you a chance to speak. So those are basically the directions that we're going under tonight. And now, if I can find my first inductee. Oh, before I go any further, how'd you like the food tonight? Yeah, not bad, huh? And for this table over here, give me a couple amens if I do good. Reverend Pridgeon did a great job, and I heard a couple amens coming from that table. So if you hear something you like, thank you very much. Thank you. You can testify for me. That's fine. I can use that. All right, our first award that I'm going to do tonight, I had the pleasure of sitting with him right up here, Charlie Cigar Ferraro. Charlie Ferraro moved to Buffalo from his hometown of Pittston, PA, where he was an outstanding football player in high school. His association with boxing began by coincidence during a visit to Mickey McNerney's gym in 1946. On that fateful day, there was a need for a sparring partner. So Charlie volunteered and performed so well that he was invited back many times after that. During those days, Ferraro sparred with many local boxers, including Johnny Green and Phil Moscato, even though an old eye injury precluded him from competition and regulation bouts. Charlie was a very important key figure in the resurgence of Ring 44, a loyal member of the organization. Ring 44 meeting, he held the meetings. Are you trying to stop me here? What's going on, Bob? Okay. Oh, I didn't understand that. You're Joe. No, you Paul. We're off to a rocky start, folks. Oh, okay. You're Jim. Charlie was an important key to resurgence of Ring 44, was a loyal member of the organization. He held his 44 meetings at the High Tone Lounge in Riverside for many years before retiring in 1999. And tonight, Ring 44 is proud to induct Charlie Cigar Ferraro to the Buffalo Boxing Hall of Fame, and accepting is his son, Joe.
Just want to say thank you. It's my pleasure to be here tonight and accept this on behalf of my dad. I know that if he was here,
Good evening, everyone. It's a lovely meal, lovely atmosphere. Appreciate being here. Brought back a lot of memories. It's kind of awkward, but it's a pleasure too. Sitting across from tonight, the wife, or sister rather, her daughter. Sitting across from the daughter of a great fighter that I fought. That could be Mr. Fat Fuller, right? And I just want to say that he's a great man. You guys want to honor me, I want to pass it on. Because we all can, I guess, be honored for something, just being a good human being. It's tough. It's tough getting old, right? No, it is. But it's also rewarding and great, you know. I didn't have to get to this point. I had a great career, and I wish some kids was here tonight to hear me say that just because it looks like it's over, it's not over. No, it's not. It's never over until it's over. That's the creed. That's the creed. It's never over until it's over. And that's what I see. I see tonight, it's almost like we're getting revamped or recycled, because we see people you thought was done. Right? You see people you thought was done, and then you see them show up fresh. And I heard a guy, a great man, say one time, don't point the finger at the other person, because you never know where you might be at. So that's what I heard today. When I come in, I have to give it to you, man. You always got hope. You know, he always talk, well, that's what he talk about, hope. And he's not afraid to pass it on. He's not afraid to pass it on. I like that. That's what I got out of this tonight. You know, sitting around and it reminds me, because I can't run 4 or 5 miles like I used to, train for 15 rounds, I can still battle in life. So don't mess with me. I'm still good for 3 or 4 minutes. And I carry around a portable phone booth. You know, I set it up and say, come on in here. That's the cockiness in me, man. You never lose it. It's gonna be me and you. It ain't gonna be me. See, what? Somebody said awesome. But you know, it's good hanging out with my friend here. This guy, man, he surprises me. You know, he comes up. You know, he got these ideas and it's scene minstrel, but before you know it, he started to put it together, and it's a great project. It's a great project, and I can see it. I can see it. Don't give it up. So I'm just supporting this guy. That's why I'm here. If you need to know, you know, I'm supporting him, and I met him and I know him, and he supports me. It's no more than just being a friend. You know, it's good stuff. Good stuff, man. But I know I need it. You see that, and I need to be around that. There's a lot of, you know what, BS. You know, and we need to be that to each other. If you can't do it to the whole, then one-on-one. You'd be surprised what it does. I'm a witness. I got a testimony too. You see me hop up here, right? Hopping. But I'm telling you, give me a few little steps, man. I'm all right, man. That's how life is. Don't give up. Don't fall out, man. All right? And we all can use some, how they say, when you call people that they got a good character, and you look at them, role models. Say that loud. Role models. That's one of them right there. Thank you, guys.
What a nice round of applause. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Do we have any Yankee fans out there tonight? They're down 3-0 to the Red Sox right now in the second half. I'm a Boston fan. I'm sorry. That was mean. But don't worry, with Boston's bullpen, they'll come back. So, okay, enough with the sports bulletins. Let's go on now. I'm looking forward to this next award because I had a chance to speak with her before we got started. Downtown Leona Brown. I'm old enough to remember Downtown Julie Brown. Remember Julie Brown from MTV? We've got Downtown Leona Brown. She's 4'11", born in Buffalo. I won't give her the year. I won't give the year. 1960. She said, "Go ahead." If she says, "Go ahead," I'm going to go ahead. She didn't start a professional boxing career until the age of 37. 37. The relentless infighter and body puncher took the amateur women's 119-pound title at the 70th New York Golden Gloves tournament. She then took the silver medal in the 119-pound division at the first UD National Amateur Championships in Augusta, Georgia in 1997, losing a 4-1 decision, but she took the silver. She proceeded to win her first 7 fights as a professional, 2 by knockout, including her first world title. On September 11, 1998, at the Tropicana Hotel, Leona faced Katie Burton of Thunder Bay, Ontario for the IWBF Super Bantamweight title, winning by a unanimous 10-round decision. And in her 8th professional bout, fought on June 11, 1999, she lost a world title to Eva Jones. But she had a couple shots after that. She's made her mark in the sport, especially starting out at the age of 37. Ring 44 is proud to honor Downtown Leona Brown as the first woman boxer at the Buffalo Boxing Hall of Fame.
two-time Amateur of the Year award winner, Wendy Casey, wants to say a word and give the plaque to Ms. Brown.
I just want to say how inspirational you are to me. I actually made my comeback at 30, and I kind of thought that was a hard thing to do. The restraints of being an adult and having an injury in the past, and you really showed me that I can't let the setbacks get to me. You were a very tenacious fighter. You refused to give up. You were relentless inside the ring. You had ferocious punches. You were just so exciting to watch. And I loved all the dancing that I saw in your videos too. It reminded me a lot of it. I just want to say congratulations. It's really an honor to be able to give this to you.
Wow. It's been a long time coming. We finally came home. The number 7 was mine. All right, I think this was 6th world champion. He came out of Buffalo. All right, number 7 belonged to me because I was born July the 27th, the month the 7th, and I deserve the 7th. All right, Buffalo. I am so, you just don't know, overwhelmed that, I've been inducted in bare knuckles, but I was saying, no, I want to be home. You know what I'm saying? My hometown, I always wanted to be recognized. And I think I did more than enough, you know what I'm saying, to finally be recognized in my hometown. And I'd like to thank Ring 44 for making this happen, Bob, both Bobs, and everybody that had anything to do with it. Thank you. And I'd like to thank my family over here. That came out to support me. And people, if I would have listened to someone long time ago when I was 17 years young, when I always wanted to become a boxer, and Muhammad Ali was my inspiration. He inspired me, and Bruce Lee. I think Bruce Lee was the first. All right, I'm like, but then I was introduced to Muhammad Ali, and I like those moves that he makes and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh man, I can do this, right? So all along I want to be a boxer, but I was living in Buffalo. Ain't that many gyms in Buffalo. It ain't no trainers. I didn't think I knew what a trainer was until I left Buffalo. Oh, you got to be trained for this? Oh, I thought I always had it in me. All right? But the thing about it is, one day I was sitting on the porch, this guy, in the neighborhood, and I was telling him about what I wanted to do, because I was taking up karate and stuff. And that was it wasn't enough, all right? Because every time the trainer, Bruce Lee, he would look like Bruce Lee, he was my trainer, he would put me with the guys. He would never put me with the girls, all right? I was a white belt, and I got, I got my little stripes because I did my 4 little katas that you're supposed to know or whatever, right? But belts didn't mean nothing, because I was kicking the brown belts and the green belts' butt, and he didn't want to put me with the girls because he knew I would knock them up, because I was knocking the boys up. And every time they would come stand in front of me, because the girls come stand in front of me ready, I want to fight her. He wouldn't do that because he knew he would lose money. He would say, where did I learn all these years, She got a white belt and she's kicking my butt. He never would let me fight the girls. I was always fighting the brown belt, the black belt. And then they say, oh, did you do this before? I say, no, I just watched Bruce Lee pictures, movies. That's where I learned it at. Y'all paying all this money, and I'm come to find out y'all ain't learning nothing. Get a couple of tapes and watch Bruce Lee. Cheaper, But anyway, as far as that, he started to get on my nerves after a while, because now he's going to tell me that my boobs was too big. He said, oh, you can never be a boxer because your boobs too big. Oh, my boobs too big? Now I was depressed. My boobs too big. You know, I was walking around the whole summer hiding my boobs because I think my boobs was too big. At 17, my boobs too big. I can't be a boxer. What I'm going to do? Okay? But when I moved up this way and I seen these heavyweights, boobs falling out everywhere, smacking you in the face, I'm like, oh, wow, he telling me my boobs too big? Her breast just hit me. And she in the ring. You know, what's going on here? My boobs too big. You know, and I've been trying to, the thing about it, this guy, I'm like, I wanted him to be here, but I don't remember the guy. Cause I would give him a right hook, boo, a left hook, boo, and an uppercut. Say hello to the Hall of Fame tennis.
I should let you, Bob, follow that up. Well, downtown, you're right. There are 7 world champions now in Buffalo. And I was born on July 7th, so that's 7-7. So definitely be in the book next year as our 7th. But the one thing is, I got you a shirt, and I hope you wear it in New York. This is the inductee 2008.
I just wanted to say this, and I do want everybody to know I'm for world peace, okay? World peace. I'm not prejudiced, you know, I just wanted to say this because I get a lot of Facebook saying that I'm prejudiced or whatever, I'm race. No, I just speaks my mind, that's it, you know? I love everybody. I love green first.
I would check out, make sure that shirt fits. Well, you were so make sure it's big enough. I tell you what, you raise the bar high for the next woman who gets inducted in Ring 44. Let's have another round of applause for downtown. Certainly a highlight. Okay, we're gonna get serious for a second because it's time now to mention some of our members who we've lost over the year. In loving memory of our recently departed Jim Bugman, Joey Giambra, and John McCarthy, we do the 10 count. May you rest in peace. It's time for another induction. That'll be Pat Quillo. Apparently I asked the wrong person for the pronunciation. Pat started boxing as a teenager under the guidance of Harry Gill. As an amateur, Pat compiled a record of 15-2 and a Navy record of 16 victories and only 3 defeats to bring his combined record to 31-5 as an amateur. He then turned professional in '75 at the age of 19, training under Harry Gill. Pat compiled a 12-0 record, 11 by knockout. With other trainers and promoters seeking Pat's talent, the Sharks moved in, and like so many fighters did in the past and will do in the future, Pat was lured away from Harry with the promise of greener pastures. As a professional, Pat fought many future champions, past champions, and highly ranked professionals. One of the highlights of his career and his pro debut, fighting and beating Mustafa Hamsho and being one of only 2 fighters to knock him down, the other being Marvin Hagler. Tonight, Ring 44 remembers Pat Quillo by inducting him into the Boxing Hall of Fame, and accepting tonight for Pat will be daughter Erin.
I want to say a couple of words. I'm Mike Santini, and I grew up with Pat, a friend of mine. Pat, and he did take some of my speech away, but that's perfectly fine. Pat was to be remembered as a man who cared about other people. I remember Pat as a person who loved his family, who loved his friends. Pat was always the person who would defend the weak, take care of the people who are in trouble. You know, we hear a lot in our society about bullying. You go on the social media, and bullying is a common thing. People commit suicide over bullying. The news media follows bullies. It's really a big thing nowadays not to be bullied, for people to pay attention to bullying. Well, I have news for you. In the 1960s and the 1970s, bullying was still around. And bullying was acceptable, and parents and teachers and whoever just thought it was a kid goofing around, when kids were actually being hurt and offended and scarred. But Pat Quillo was a person who was way ahead of his time. And Pat would not stand for bullying from anyone in his circle of friends. And if he saw someone who was being bullied by someone, it was the last time that bully was in action. Because Pat sincerely cared about people. So when Pat was around, bullies fled. And I honestly think that is a trait that a lot of people don't have. That they really don't reach out beyond themselves and care about other people and care about what's going on. But I know Pat to be the person who never did that. And I always remember that about Pat. It always stuck in my mind that he cared about everyone around him and made sure that the weak were protected. So thank you for letting me say that. I want to mention 2 other things. Pat won the 1975 Navy East Coast Championship Award, which was not an easy thing to do. And he also won the Florida State Light Heavyweight title in 1983, which was another great accomplishment. And finally, I want to say that Pat's family, Erin came up from Texas with her husband tonight, and her son, and Patrick came up from New Jersey to be with us tonight. They both flew up for the event, and it's a very special thing for the family for Pat to be inducted. I'd like to say thank you. Now, Erin would like to come up and say a couple words about Pat and thank the crowd. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank the Buffalo Boxing Association.
Thank you very much, Matt. Hi, everyone. Great looking crowd. My brother and I are here together to accept this award for our father with much gratitude for the recognition of our father's boxing career and achievements. We're very privileged to be here to accept this award for him from the Ring 44 Buffalo Boxing Hall of Fame. If he were here this evening, I'm sure he would have been elated to have been recognized for his efforts and achievements. In his earlier years, he was absolutely diligent about his focus, training, diet, and prioritizing boxing over all else. And of course, his hair. For those of him that know that, they know. It's wonderful to see that his dedication did pay off for him. Unfortunately for him not to be here himself, but for us to have the opportunity to celebrate this for him. I'd like to thank the officers, the members Ring 44, for inducting Pat Quill into their Boxing Hall of Fame. Thank you to Bo Balecki, for being able to verify all of the stats that allowed him to receive his honors today. Dave Poole, Tony Ventura, Dominic Esposito, Joe Morales, Mark Coco. Thank you to all of you who took your time to come and make sure that he was nominated for this great achievement. Thank you for your time. And lastly, I'd like to say a very special thank you to all of our family and friends that were able to make it, most of which are not local. Thank you for arranging your lives to be here to celebrate with us tonight. We really do appreciate your support. Thank you. And also congratulations to all of the inductees.
Our next inductee from Ring 44 is welterweight Gene Torres. Born Eugene Torres in Pittsburgh, PA, Gene served as a paratrooper with the 101st Airborne Division stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia. After World War II, he was an all-service champion boxer. He then became a professional boxer, compiling an 18-7 record, first as a lightweight, then moving up to welterweight. As a lightweight, he lost his professional debut to Native American Buddy Jackson of Springville at the Elks Lodge in Buffalo, New York. But Gene avenged his defeat 5 years later as a welterweight at Memorial Auditorium. He moved west to get some fights and fought some top-notch boxers in California. From there, he fought Utah, Canada, and finally back in Buffalo. His last fight, a 10-round decision loss to Joe Maselli, a formidable veteran of over 100 bouts. But tonight, Ring 44 recognizes his influence by inducting him into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Accepting for Gene tonight will be his son, Tony.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. All those old fighters here. I mean, it's 30 years later, you guys show up. It means a lot to me. I thought I loved you guys, man.
I think Downtown's doing her own TV show up here. It is reality. Okay, our next inductee, Coach Dean Ianu. As a boxing coach since 2004 at the University of Buffalo, Ianu stresses that the sport isn't fighting, it's skill and strategy. The students he instructed ranged from ages 6 to 68. Had never been in a boxing ring before seeking Ianu's tutelage. It's more than learning to box, he said, it's about confidence. The students I teach learn about self-worth and they leave with confidence. Ianu said boxing has intrigued him since he was a teenager. When he trained in the sport, he always felt compelled to teach others about the skills in boxing that he learned at Singer's Gym on Main Street. At Singer's in the early 1970s, he was trained by Johnny Sudak and Henry Pilo. Through his unique boxing skill sets, Ianu has helped his clients take their lives back one skill at a time, from opening a bottle of water to getting out of a wheelchair and walking unassisted. Dean has coached people to achieve what was once seen as impossible, and he's just getting started. Tonight, Ring 44 is honored to induct Dean into the Buffalo Boxing Hall of Fame.
First of all, I'd like to thank the members of Swing 44 for inducting me into the Hall. I am truly humbled. I also want to thank my family for both supporting and putting up with me through all this. Anyone who's ever developed boxers knows the commitment it takes to make them competitive. Every weekend you're competing somewhere. We fought all over New York State, Canada, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, Florida, Colorado, Independence, Missouri, Salt Lake City, Kansas City, and God knows where else. I also want to thank Billy Copeland, who's not here tonight. He helped us along the way. Without his help, we would have never attained the success we had. Because of our success, I used to hear from different people why they thought we were so successful. They said it was because we had a larger pool to draw from. They said it was because we trained our fighters longer before we brought them out. We had a pro style. The answer is culture. At UB, we not only built a program, we built a culture. Every organization has to have a culture. It's who you are. I made it clear from day one, it didn't matter if you won or lost. It was all about how you fought your fight. I made it very clear as well, there's nothing more transparent than a boxer. There's no substitutions and there's no timeouts. Make your opponent fight harder than he wants to fight. Make him fight every second of every round. It's how you fought your fight that defined who you were at UB. When it's all over, did you leave everything you had in the ring? Did you panic punch or did you follow the game plan? Did you recognize opportunity in the most challenging conditions? Did you fight with heart? Did you fight your fight? I would ask my fighters all the time in practice and in the corners, how are you going to finish? When he came to the gym, he had a quad cane. The quad cane is a cane with 4 suction cups on it. It wasn't enough to hold him up. He used it to get to a table, a chair, something stable. Make a long story short, Tony walks to my gym 5.7 miles every day. Unassisted. He works out an hour and a half and he walks 5.7 miles home. He walks 11.4 miles unassisted 6 days a week. Wendy Casey, Taylor Atkinson, Jennifer Taggart, Jeff Quinn, Tyler Cruz, Lydia Merlot all work with me there now, and brought that same mindset, that same culture we had at UB to work with Parkinson's patients. That same, I'm going to bring a culture we had at UB, we now have at the Parkinson's gym. That culture, that mindset, with direction and the proper skill sets, have got these same people given no hope to get out of wheelchairs and walkers and take back their lives. I want to thank everyone who fought for me and helped me along the way. You're the reason I'm receiving this recognition, and I thank you. Great job.
And our last inductee of the evening, trainer Charlie Sacco. Charlie Sacco loved the sport of boxing. He grew up watching and supporting his 2 older brothers, Johnny and Sammy Sacco. Charlie Sacco was not a boxer, but he was a dedicated boxing supporter. Both of Charlie's brothers were proudly inducted into the class of 2017 Buffalo Veterans Boxers Association Hall of Fame. In the early 60s, Charlie became involved with Monsignor Franklin Kelleher, who was the director of the Working Boys Home located on Vermont Street, later known as the Buffalo Boys Town. The Working Boys Home had many dedicated volunteers who supported the home, among which were Charlie and Sammy Sacco. The home would not have been as successful as it was had it not been for the support of these volunteers. Charlie would serve as the matchmaker for the Golden Glove tournaments and amateur boxing shows in the region. Charlie, a devoted father, friend, and advocate of volunteerism, was a role model to the boys, and it was not unusual for Charlie to invite a few of the boys to his home for Sunday sauce a couple times a month. When Charlie passed away in 1973, Monsignor Kelleher said, "He took care of my boys. I'm really heartsick over losing my right arm." Tonight, Ring 44 is proud to induct Charlie Sacco into the Buffalo Boxing Hall of Fame, and accepting will be his grandson, Robert.
The family of Charlie Sacco is honored to receive this recognition and induction for the Buffalo Veterans Boxing Association Ring 44 Hall of Fame. As mentioned, my grandfather loved the sport of boxing, and while he himself was not a boxer in his youth, he grew to love and teach the sport by watching and supporting his two older brothers, Johnny and Sammy Sacco. My grandfather was the head trainer and coach for the Buffalo Golden Gloves under the guidance of Monsignor Franklin Kelleher. He also worked the corners for many professional fighters at the Memorial Auditorium. He accompanied Monsignor Kelleher and local boxers for over 10 years to the National Golden Gloves competitions. As a devoted father, uncle, and friend, my grandfather was an advocate for volunteerism. As mentioned, he tried to be a role model for all of his athletes, and it wasn't unusual for him to invite athletes over for Sunday dinner, but I do want to point out it was my grandmother who actually graciously prepared those meals for all the boxers. The Sacco family would like to congratulate the other outstanding inductees to the class of 2018 Buffalo Veterans Boxing Association Hall of Fame, and a special thanks to the family and friends of Charlie Sacco who are here this evening supporting my grandfather. Thank you again, Ring 44. My grandfather would be very proud of this recognition.
Okay, fabulous evening. Let's have another round of applause for all of our inductees tonight. We have some final words. I want to thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure to be here. I'd like to bring up Bob and Lou for the final comments.
Thank you, Mr. Wyszynski. Very good job as usual. I want to thank everybody for coming here today. You know, and I put it in the president's message, we never know how the next dinner is going to be. And I put down on the sheet to order tickets. You have to order by September 15th. I don't know how many tickets came at the end, near the end of this month, or the beginning of this month. And I just couldn't turn anybody away, so that's why we got another packed house. And I want to thank everybody for being here. 2 years in a row, we had the Saccos here. It's great. I think we ran out of Saccos now, so we have to do something else. We're going to do a 50-50 split. And Louis, the Vice President Louis Moscato, whose father was Joe Moscato and uncle was Phil Moscato. Everybody knows the Moscatos from Buffalo. We'd like to say something. Thank you again.
You know, for the past 21 years, we've been having this Hall of Fame. It's tremendous seeing everybody come out and support this good cause. There's there's just hundreds of boxers that came out of Buffalo, and they weren't being recognized, they weren't being remembered, they were all forgotten about. Nobody talks about boxing. You say Rocky Kansas, who's that? There's 6 world champions here, nobody knows any of them. The Buffalo News, the TV news reporters, sports reporters, they don't know any of them. They don't want to talk about boxing, I don't know why. I mean, yeah, boxing is a tough sport. But, you know, we got the Bills and the Sabres, and that's great. But boxing was king back in the 30s and 40s, even the 20s, all the way up to the 70s. Ring 44 started in 1962. I was born in 1962, so I've been around since then. Let's see, that's 56 years. It petered out in, say, like 1980. Well, my dad passed away in 77. And from 77 to 1980, Ring 44 kind of petered out because a lot of the old timers back then passed away, and the organization was just kind of like going defunct. And I'll never forget, March 30th, 1995, I went to the PAL revival of the amateur boxing. Mayor Masiello revived it. Because Jimmy Griffin, I guess, did away with PAL boxing. And then Mayor Masiello came back and started the program back up. So it was the first amateur boxing show for PAL, March 30th, 1995. I'll never forget it. Because when I went there, the first person I saw was Dick DePinko. And I ended up sitting with him, Louis Tucciarelli and his dad, Vince Mancino, a few other guys, and this lady, Mary Thomas, who used to work with my dad at the Parks Department. She come over to me and she goes, Louis, that guy over there has got a bunch of boxing memorabilia on the table. He ain't got nothing on your dad. Are you wrong? And I laughed. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Who is it? I don't know, Ed Cudney. So I went over, I knew the name, but I never met the guy. And I knew he was a friend of my dad's, an old-time fighter. So I went over and I saw what he had. And he had like oversized he had pictures in oversized frames. They just weren't presentable looking. But he had, memorabilia on the table. And I introduced myself, and oh God, yeah, I knew your dad, he's a good friend. And, he told me to come up to City Hall. I have a Buffalo boxing memorabilia museum. And I'm like, wow, I just got done laminating my dad's scrapbooks. And it was perfect timing. And he goes, yeah, come on up to the City Hall sometimes. 3 days later, I went up to City Hall. And I was amazed. He had all these pictures on the wall. And this is City Hall, just like an office up at City Hall on the 22nd floor. And I saw what he had, and I said, my God, this guy needs help. I mean, he's an old timer. You don't really know what to do. He's trying his best, but I know he was a friend of my dad's, and he needed help. And I said, do you know my dad was trying to start Boxing Hall of Fame? He goes, yeah, I know. I said, man, you're a godsend. You're like a godsend. You got all this stuff sitting here, and it is. It's amazing that we're so fortunate to have so many Buffalo boxers and so much artifacts, whether they're scrapbooks, pictures, posters, anything artifacts that we have. And I said, let's put this on display. So me and Dick DePinko, we built a three-panel traveling board, and we took it out to the Italian Festival, Taste of Buffalo, and all the amateur boxing shows, and we put all the pictures of boxers on the panels. And we called it Buffalo Boxing Museum. This is how it started out. And we got a hold of a lot of the old-time fighters that were still around, and one of them was Tom Stenhouse. I call him Tom Stenhouse. But it was a great story that Robert Dixie talked about. He was one of my idols, Tom Stenhouse. A great friend of my dad's, too. And I grew up with all the Ring 44 guys back then. Jimmy Harkins was the president, and Freddie Mueller was the vice president. Them guys were like 80-year-old. I don't know, they looked like they were 80 years old when I was like 8 years old. They used to come over to my house, and they're just legends, and they're not talked about, they're forgotten about. But anyway, Tom Stenhouse, he says, boy, it's looking really good, because I made it more presentable, and I started, getting it out there to get noticed at the different venues and stuff, and tried to get PAL to help us, and they did. They helped us. But I wanted it to be called Buffalo Boxing Hall of Fame.
And then Tom Stenhouse said, well, you know, we still have $1,500 in the treasury of the Ring 44. And I'm like, what? You still have a treasury? He goes, yeah. I said, well, let's start it back up. And that's what we did. And we called all the old-time fighters that were still around. Lee Batchelor, God bless. All these fighters that you see that we have pictures up here on that slideshow. A lot of them are gone, and God bless them, rest their soul. But they all became my friends, like my best friends. They were like my idols, just role models, like you said. I looked up to them all, and for the past 21 years, I see them go, pass away, and you know, it hurts. I get emotional about it because it's the deep love inside that makes me want to pursue the passion to make this like how Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame is. It's amazing how they have a great venue, and the ticket prices I think are $105 each now. It's crazy, but I want to be big. I want this to be well known. I want everybody to know about it. I want a museum so I can put all this stuff on display for the public to see. It ain't no good in your dresser drawer or your attic or your basement. I want these guys to be always remembered and never forgotten. So I just wrote here, Ring 44 and its members consist of many proud boxing families of Buffalo fighters who fought and called Buffalo their home. Anyone interested in becoming an active and participating member for $20 a year, you can join and get involved and support this great organization. Over the past 20 years, we strive to honor and celebrate all fighters who have achieved and made great accomplishments in the sport of boxing to keep their memory alive. So anyone interested in Buffalo's proud history of boxing, past, present, and future, we encourage you to share with us and make the world know that Buffalo is a big boxing town in its glory days of the past 100 years, to always thrive to keep the sport alive. With our hungry appetite of present-day amateur and professional boxers, we are proud of our history and aim to promote us all. That we were raised here, they fought here, and we remain here, and we will fight to keep our Buffalo we call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. We're going to do the 50-50, and I want all the award winners or the family member who took the plaque to come on stage. We're going to take a group picture, and then it's going to be posted online, and we'll make sure everybody gets some pictures. So everybody that is award winner, the amateur and everything else, Mr. Dixie, please come to the front. And what is the 50-50? Mr. LaBarbera will have the buzzsaw, Hampton Buzzsaw, picking our numbers. One more number. It's the red ticket, 50-50, as well, green, blue. Don't be looking at the numbers. All right. 246-5535. 246-5535. Going once. 246-5535. The blue 50-50. Mrs. Photographer's here. Well, if you get it, bring it up. If not, I get extra money. Thank Thank you.